What up, everybody? It's ipadbeatmaking.com, and today you already know why we're here. We're here to talk about the Apple event that took place on today, November 10th, 2020, and we're going to unpack what occurred, what we like about it, what we didn't like about it, what our expectations were, did it fulfill them, did it exceed them, from an iOS producer's point of view. Now, before we begin, please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, as well as the subscribe button if you aren't currently subscribed, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on the latest tips, tricks, news, tutorials, beats, etc., etc., etc. And with that said, let's get it in. Now, first of all, we went into the event hoping for these rumored AirPod Studios that were supposed to be over-the-ear headphones that would be incredible for an iOS producer if it had things like a low latency audio Bluetooth connection. Now, hold on a second, because I'm just looking at this right now. What is it with the chic, Hawaiian doors slide open, bring the outside in vibe that Apple's always trying to floss? Like, we get it, y'all run the world, but y'all ain't gotta show the whole building opening up like a transformer. Look, Tim Cook just out here like, yeah, this is my house, this is where I live, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, now the AirPods Studios were a rumor and kind of, out there, like maybe not, but what we were for sure expecting to see was an Apple MacBook refresh. We didn't know how extensive it would be. Would it be just the entry-level MacBook? Would it be just the Pro? Would it be something new in the middle? So is it just me? I feel like we really could get an Apple event a month now. Like, this is the new pattern. Just give me an Apple event every single month. I'm good with that. Just every month, kick me some new products. Maybe they're for me and my genre and my demographic. Maybe they're not, but I just enjoy these announcements. I like this so much better than the auditorium. I think the Apple folks are having a bunch of fun doing it this way also. But now we're getting to the lab. And you see this comparison that this chip is seeming to have. I mean, the difference that this chip is having over the efficiency and the power consumption, I mean, it looks nothing short of incredible. And my question is, why isn't this the chip we're getting in an iPad? If it's so efficient, if it's so capable, why are we still getting these A-series chipsets instead of the silicone chipsets into the iPad? Is it that difficult to incorporate? Because really, that's the direction I'd like to see this taken. If we're able to get this much power out of it in a MacBook, then imagine the implementation of this in an iPad or an iPhone, how much more powerful that device would be, not to mention battery efficiency, etc. I wonder if there's some kind of physical limitation. Maybe it's a software issue with the hardware. I don't know, but I feel like this is the chip that we need in our iDevices. It should all be the same chipset at this point, and maybe that's ultimately the plan, because they said it's going to take them a few years to complete their master plan, and they kind of insinuated that it's just about Macs, but the fact that it's able to run iPhone apps and iPad apps kind of lends credence to the fact that maybe, just maybe, this is also going to be an iOS device chipset as well in the future. Maybe the M2 or M3 or something like that. So this thing has high efficiency cores and high performance cores, a total of 8 cores, 4 of which serve one purpose, 4 of which serve another. Now that is pretty cool. Oh, he's getting the lights down low. He's about to get his flex on right here. Look at that. It's been so long since I've had to deal with that I forgot what any of that was about. I've been on the iPad and iPhone for so long. I have no understanding of why that's a big deal today. That's how spoiled that we have been as iOS users and producers. So the new universal, instead of universal meaning iPhone and iPad, universal is now going to mean Mac, iPhone, iPad, etc. And they've got something called Rosetta 2 that allows you to run an older app with no problem, even if it hasn't been ported over for their new universal format. Now, this universal format is really interesting to me because the way I see it touted now, I think a lot of people were hoping that we were going to get Mac apps brought to iOS, and I think it's going the other direction. I think the concept that they're at right now is they want the iOS apps to be usable and accessible for Mac users. Now, the effect this will actually have on the marketplace is going to be interesting to me. Will this cause developers of iPad apps, music apps specifically, even photo apps and video apps, will this cause them to charge more for their apps now that they'll be in an ecosystem where people are used to paying much higher prices for the software? I could easily see LumaFusion going up to like $89 or something if they really choose to take the universal option seriously and have their software stand head and shoulders with the other Mac offerings. I could easily see LumaFusion charging like $89. I could see something like Cubasis charging a clean $100 for the usage of it being Mac and iPhone, and I could see $99 in that situation. I can see a lot of apps that are like $5 apps shooting up to $25 now that they have a new audience that is accessible to them. I also wonder, how does AEV3 port over in that situation? It is audio unit, which is obviously on Apple desktop as well. So do they automatically port over easy for this universal format since they're already running on iPhone and iPad? Does that mean the AEV3 format will also work over there with no problem? Or is this only for the standalone apps? I'm almost thinking that it's got to work for AEV3 too. And if that is the case, are you basically, is the new way to get the most power out of an iPhone or iPad app to run it on a Mac and simply, you know, do your Nano Studio 2 or your Cubasis or your Zenbeats, etc., your Beatmaker 3 app, just put it on the Mac and now you've got the ultimate groove box with unlimited resources? Or is there something stopping it from exploiting the full power of the Mac? Because just imagine like a Beatmaker 3 session with these 8 and 16 core, you know, processors that they're coming with. I'm sure there will be a 16 core and 32 core and beyond when they come out with the Mac Pros, etc., etc. Will a Beatmaker 3 session be able to take advantage of all those cores in an optimized way, being that it's an iPad app and they're allowing iPad apps to run on the Mac? Something to consider. If that is the case, does that make you, iPad or iPhone user, say, you know what, I'm jumping on board with the Mac now and I'm gonna focus my energies into that? I can forego the touchscreen. It's more important to me to have the power, and I can use my MIDI controller or whatever else that I'm needing to do to get my music done. It's really something to think about. So now we've got the MacBook Air here, and I'll summarize this for you. It's supposedly really powerful, 2 to 3 times faster, 4 times faster, 10 times faster, so much faster, and it's better than the Windows laptop also. And the really cool thing about this is it's got 15 hours of wireless web and 18 hours of video playback, which is nuts. It's like you could spend a whole day watching movies, go to sleep, wake up again, and still be watching movies with that kind of watch time. That's insane. The battery efficiency is probably the biggest deal to me in this whole event so far, besides the fact that iPad apps will be runnable on Mac natively. Look at this. We've got a new Mac Mini. Now, I loved the Mac Mini. It was one of my favorite computers when I was a desktop user. Got the MacBook Pro, Mac Pro, but really the Mac Mini was always the most versatile device. I could travel with it really easily and kind of carefree and just set up, you know, whenever I got to the next city. Usually there was a TV and I could just plug everything into the TV and run my studio setup like that. Say I was running in hotel rooms and all that. I got a lot of the benefits of a laptop without paying that $3,000 price. At the time it was like, you know, $600-700. Now, I did not know there was a USB 4. See, I'm so out of touch, I don't even know about USB 4. They could have fit a few more ports on the back of there, a few more USB-C ports, Thunderbolt ports. I mean, they could have at least given us 1 or 2 more on the back of that. But, you know, hey, I guess they figure it's enough. And it's only $699, which is a very good price for that device. I mean, it's cheaper. It's the same price as like an iPhone 12 mini. I mean, if you got the choice now it's not even about budget anymore, right? If you got the choice, you can get an iPhone 12 mini or you can get a Mac mini. Which one are you really getting if you want to take video and music production seriously? I think a strong case could be made that you'd be better off in that situation just grabbing the Mac mini. I mean, why not? And now we've got the king of the laptops in the world of Apple with the MacBook Pro. But I think this is only the 13-inch MacBook Pro. 17 hours of wireless web, 20 hours of video playback. So you get 10 hours more time of video playback than before. That's crazy. In one generation to jump from 10 hours to 20 hours of video playback. I mean, sheesh. So the MacBook Pro starts at $1299. And again, the question now becomes, are you getting an iPad for that kind of money, or are you getting a MacBook Pro that can run iPad apps. I mean, this has really changed, I think, the way you look at the investment of iPad and iPhone now, because you can have a MacBook, which is appearing to be much more powerful, host your iPad and iPhone apps. So this makes buying decisions a little bit different, especially if you've got MIDI controllers, right? If you can deal with not having a touch screen, this really is changing the list of priorities if you just want power but be able to run the iPad apps. So I'm gonna give y'all a hot take right now. Maybe I'll be wrong, hopefully I'll be wrong about this, but it's my theory that Logic will not be coming to the iPad anytime soon. Quite the opposite. They're working on getting everything migrated over to the Mac. That's the bread and butter for them. That's their priority. All the hours of hard work that developers have put into making iPad a profitable platform, they're now going to leverage that with the Mac. I don't think that they will come out with Logic for iPad now that I've seen this announcement. It just doesn't really seem to jive with their plan. Maybe at a later point, they'll start to go the other direction. Once they get the iPad stuff formatted for the MacBook like they want, they will now go from the MacBook to the iPad. But their first order of business and first priority to me appears that it will be iPad apps, iPhone apps, and then after that, they go ahead and bring the Mac stuff over to the iPad. Or maybe they never do that. Maybe they keep the iPad totally mobile, and then maybe they come out with a touchscreen MacBook, and now you get the best of the iPad feature sets, but you get the power and the full system of a MacBook or MacBook Pro. Really interesting stuff here. So we're listening to Tim Cook talk, hoping that maybe he'll have some assistant or something come out with a big old set of Airpods Studio cans, and it's just like they're wireless, low latency, something, but we don't get any of that. That is the end of the event. Then they had a One More Thing skit that's kind of funny. PC comparing the fanless system of these new Apple products, cracking jokes or whatever, but there was no AirPods Studio announced. There was no other products announced, actually. That was it. So when they said one more thing, they really meant one more thing. It was really the chip and the fact that they've integrated into these different devices. So what do you think of the event? What is your thoughts on it? Are you now changing the way you look at iPad or iOS music making? Are you thinking about getting back into the Mac world with this M1 chip? Or are you going to hold steady and be faithful to the iOS platform and hope that maybe in the next year or two, or maybe as soon as the 2021 iPad Pro announcement, we actually get the good news where things start to go the other way? I'd actually like for that to be the reality. But what are your thoughts on this event? Will you be grabbing anything? Will it change your buying decisions? Are you going to adjust your Christmas list now? Or are you sticking true to what you already got? Let me know down in the comments section. And if you have any technical info on how this will work, how this will look with the iPad apps running on the Mac, please let us know in the comments section. It's not something that I'm familiar with, but I'd love for your experience or knowledge about it so that we can all be enlightened. And with that said, I'm going to get out of here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button if you aren't currently subscribed. And be sure to check out some of the best sound kits for iOS at ipadbeatmaking.com. It's ipadbeatmaking.com. Peace.